And there we go. Episode 18 of Gearheads and Guardians with myself, Gunner Six, and that guy over there, Nitro.
What's up, man?
How's everybody doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, bro.
Hey, you too, man. Again, we always do every week. Okay. And I know some people might think it gets a little old, but if it touches one person, it's awesome. Okay. 988. You're thinking about hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, call 988. Email us, gearheadsandguardians@gmail.com. If you don't want to talk to somebody like that, you feel more comfortable speaking to a couple old Army vets, hey, we're here to help you, man, as much as we can. We'll try to get you in the right direction. All right. So don't think that you don't matter, because you do. You must, because I say it every week. So
Every week.
That being said, today was my first day back to work. What? Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I got to go back, and it was so awesome because I was really terrified that I was going to go back to work and forget everything. I've been off for almost 2 months, and there's Mike. How you doing, Mike? Good to see you, buddy.
Mike.
I was just terrified that I was going to forget everything. And sure enough, before I even mentioned, because I was going to talk to my soup and say, hey, I go do a little, kind of refresher courses real quick. Before I could even get out of my, hey man, you got a whole bunch of training you got to get done. I'm like, yes. So my prayers were answered. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Well, it just also shows that your recovery is going. So and I know, trust me, there's mornings where I wake up and I don't want to go to work, man. But when you come off an injury and you can actually go back to work, it's really a good feeling.
It's exhilarating, man. I feel like I'm a man again. I can earn money and this, that, and the other. So I'm happy with that.
That's good.
So
good.
But so what's going on in the HMS garage?
Well, it runs. I'm going to say that the car runs. We had Mission Automotive, well-known engine builders around here.
Right.
And I've never taken any of my engines to have someone build. I've never had these problems before, but we took it over there. They rebuilt the whole bottom end, and I say rebuilt. They realized what the issue was, put it back together. We're still smoking a little bit. We think it's residual. There's oil all up in the headers and the head still, whatever, but put a new starter on it. The car fires right up. And I'm ready. I'm ready just to go hot lap Sunday. As long as Mother Nature holds off, we're going to go out, and I'm going to go ahead and try to blow this thing up. So we'll see what happens.
Please put your foot in it. She'll blow or go.
Yeah, man. Send it. It's funny you were talking about the relevancy of how when you're out of something for a while, you kind of you go back into it, and you're kind of worried about what's do you remember what you do? Sometimes it's been a week on vacation and you can't remember your login. I'm the same way about the car, to be honest with you. It's been I was last in it in November. I only had 3 laps, and then we broke the rocker shaft. But before that, man, I have not put 20 laps together since 2021. So, and not only that, but I've got way more horsepower than I've ever had before. So I know how you feel. We're getting ready to get back in the office, and I'm sitting there going, oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for all this, man. I kind of like retirement. So
man, you got this.
Ready to go.
And what's kind of a coinky dink, I guess you could call it, that kind of ties in with today's subject too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sure.
It really does.
Yeah. Because if you don't keep up with it, you'll lose it.
It's like riding a bike, man. If
you don't forget, you might not be as skilled as you were before, though.
Correct. You remember the concept, but you're starting all over where you kind of have to fail a little bit, and you're like, oh, now I remember. Yeah, there we go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, that's what really ties in with our subject this week, which is again, train. And once you're done training and you go and you get you something to eat, you're thinking about sitting down to relax, don't do that. Go train some more.
Train some
Okay,
more.
train some more. Okay, and now, both of us were non-commissioned officers in the Army,
Hmm.
and we were, we climbed the ranks. We were lower enlisted at one time too. Those little privates running around, you know, all mad all the time. How come we always get picked? How come we always gotta go do this? Well,
Thought we knew everything.
once you make make the NCO ranks, it's like, got it, makes sense now, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's funny how
I just,
the shoe turns around when you get promoted,
exactly.
and one of the crazy things about being in the military and get promoted from an enlisted to an NCO is that it's instant. The They don't expect you to know everything, but when you get pinned, especially in front of your fellow specialists or whatever, and all of a sudden, oh, I got to turn this on, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
here we
yeah.
go.
All those E4s out there used to be my buddies. Now that I pin that E5 on, now they hate me.
And Chuck, I'm gonna reminisce for a minute. I remember, I
Knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I freaking knew it.
remember, I made my E5, and then a few months after PLDC, I got promoted. After PLDC, I got promoted, and then Sergeant Major Briscoe said, "Hey, it's Chuck's turn." And
Mhm.
I remember taking you to the board, bro, and all it took was, "Oh, you like Harley Davidsons?" And it was a wrap. I mean, it literally that was as simple as it is. Hey, Chuck, Andrew Urban, you remember who that is?
Hold
Oh,
on.
Cato.
Hold on.
That's Cato right there. Yes, Cato. Welcome, my friend.
Good to see you,
Welcome.
buddy. Good to
Yeah.
see you.
So yeah, it's the fact that you're back to work. That's great. You haven't forgotten anything. As long as you can log in and click a mouse, you're good to go. So, I'm.
You're right. You're right. You're right. And the thing with it is, in my profession, I have to have the personality has to be there, and it's not easy like a lot of people think it is. Yeah, I
Hmm.
work from home. Yeah, I talk to people every day, but it's a lot harder than what you think. you know, is it
Yeah.
easy?
I,
Absolutely. It is absolutely easy. In most aspects of it, it's very easy. But on the flip side of that same coin, there's sometimes issues come up that are just like, holy cow, this is like not cool. You know what I mean?
yeah.
People
Yeah.
literally crying in your ear. What do? You don't just hang up on them.
Mhm.
What do you do? So I mean, I have to deal with that stuff too. And I have to
You
deal with
know.
people talking about, oh, I'm dying with cancer. And I get it. I get it. Been there. I
Mhm.
know. But you got to have, I always try to reassure them, you got to have a positive attitude. You know,
Yeah.
get on your knees for more than dumb stuff. Get on your knees and pray to God a little bit and get him in your heart. And trust me, you talk to him enough, he's going to answer you. Trust me, he will. I know. I'm living proof. Hey, you
Yeah.
too.
It's and I was and now that Cato's on, I can say this. Cato and I had a good talk. It's been a while since he and I talked. I don't know, about 10 years or so, and he works over at Lackland Air Force Base. But something that every day, um, I even though being out of the military, I've been fortunate. Besides us working at Time Warner, when I went back to the government side,
uh,
um, working with military every day, even though you're right next to them, you get to stand back at like a 50-meter target and go, "Whoa!" Like it is so different,
oh yeah,
right?
absolutely,
The mentality,
absolutely.
and I see these young kids stressing out over things that back in our day we'd look at and go, "This ain't nothing, kid." So it is it go us old military working today with the young
Correct.
military. You know what, Chuck? Sometimes I'd be like, man, I wish I could be in your shoes because I don't have to deal with the trend the transition of mentality that we have to see. It's crazy, and I'm sure
Oh, I get it.
I'm sure Cato, he deals with it too. You just look at these kids and you're like, oh, are you serious? So when you
Yeah.
talk about people that complain and that like what you do, um I I get it. I totally get it. You know, it's sometimes just like just how do you wake up every morning and have a problem? Like get a cup of coffee in you before you start
Yeah, right.
having a problem or something,
It's
you
like
know? So
that when they call me up like that, I feel like sometimes just reaching through there and going, "Go get you some damn coffee and leave me alone.
good coffee, have a banana and calm
You're
down.
rude."
It's 7:30, guy.
I know, right? I know. Exactly. But since it's 7:13 right now p.m., we
Right?
need to get the show going. So again,
Yep.
our topic this week was training, training, and training, and training, and training. And I know last week we talked about training, but we talked about like 4 or 5 different aspects or different angles of this training. Like your physical fitness, your mental fitness. You know, just all kinds of different facets of training. Okay. So this week we wanted to get more into, and I know we've talked kind of brushed on this a few times before, but it was more of the and I like the terminology too, and it fits it perfect. Keeping calm in the chaos, man.
Hmm.
Keeping calm in the chaos. When we're talking about training, you know, on this aspect of things, we're talking more of the concealed carry firearm stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Even in some aspects of racing, you still have to train. You still have to be physically fit. You gotta, and just a certain thing of training for racing. Even you got to
Hmm.
know the rules, man. Each sanctioning body of these different races each have different rules. And if you're going to
Yeah.
be going track to track to track, from sanction to sanction to sanction, you have to know the rules for each governing body of those. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing with concealed carry. If you're in Texas, well, God bless you because you're one of the lucky ones. But if you're in another state, you know, um, their laws are a lot more, stringent, and some states have just some weird laws. Okay,
Yeah.
and there's only I think was it is it 32 states in the union that honor the Texas concealed carry.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then on top of that, you just see something else we need to know that people might not know. They're here in Texas. Um, if you're a concealed carry holder and you plan on going to a different state, okay, by all means, travel. Take your weapon with you.
Hmm.
Okay. 2 things you must do. Number one, before you cross that border, you need to call the state police to that state. Let them know you are coming into their state, you are carrying a weapon. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, I have heard stories where no problem. That cop will come to your car, get your weapon, secure it, follow you all the way across the state, and hand it back to you before you cross the border.
Yeah.
I've heard that happen. Now, if it's true or not, I'm not for sure. Okay. Now, I know my ex father in law, he carried a Colt Python everywhere he went, you know,
Hmm.
even in Illinois, carried a Colt Python. Okay. He went from state to state, 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 state. Nobody ever said nothing to him. All he did was call him up. Hey, I'm da 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 da. I'm carrying my weapon. All right, sir. Thanks for the heads up, and away they went. Okay. So that's just some things. That's another mental awareness thing. That's something that you have to train yourself with the laws, train yourself with these skill sets. Okay. So it's not just the laws, but you have to train, excuse me, if you gotta be able to set up, a target and shoot with that weapon. Okay. You have to set up scenarios to train with that weapon. Okay. That's why, and I'm not a rich guy by any means. Trust me. Trust me when I say that. I'm not
Right.
rich. Okay. But concealed carry firearm stuff is extremely important to me. Okay. So I have, and I'm not afraid to say it, a Strikeman laser uh, training system. Okay. I actually sell them. So if y'all are interested, let me know. But I use it every other day religiously. Okay. What I'll do is one day I'll use my 21 one day, and then the next day I'll use my 17. Then I'll use it. I always train, but I'm always keeping familiar with everything. Okay, that's why I don't know if you noticed it before, but all of my guns are set up the same. The
Mhm.
only thing different is the barrels. That's it. That's the only thing different is the barrels. Triggers are the same, sights are the same. All that and the flashlights are different because, well, the frame size. Okay, but that's why. So they're all the same. They're all familiar. They're all just about the exact same. Okay,
Mhm.
so again, big thing this week we wanted to talk about was just keeping calm in the chaos. Okay, uh, and I'm not much for words. I'm not good. I'm not. I'm kind of a brunt, rash kind of guy. You know, I'll cuss you out in a heartbeat, but it comes from the heart. You know, where
Mhm.
Nitro there, he's a lot more tender-hearted, nice guy. You know, don't piss him off, but I mean he's a nice guy. Okay, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and kind of take over on that conversation on this aspect of training, because he and I talked about it earlier, and he made it several excellent points, and I was like, yeah, I meant that, but he can say it better than I can. So
But
take her away, buddy.
well, the thing about calm and chaos, training jujitsu and having been in the military, I think one of the things that really in the very beginning, when we were deployed, or working with Sergeant Major was a calm cat. He
Always
Sergeant
was.
Major Briscoe was just one of those people, and we couldn't. The only time I ever see him get riled up was when uh, something stupid was proposed by the battalion commander, and he'd actually have to stand up and go, "You're insane." So being next to that influence, where if he wasn't getting bent out of shape about stuff that was going on, I'm not going to get bent out of shape.
Exactly.
And so it started there. Then when I got into jujitsu, it really didn't get dawned or taught to me, right, until I started Kazurashi Root and Sensei Sprague, Sensei Cole, even Sensei Valere, who's our Shinon. That the calm that these guys have is insane. It's so calm you would never know that they do what they do. When I first met Sprague Sensei, you're talking about a guy that he had oil field business. He worked at the Waterloo Seagram's plant before it burnt down. He worked for Seagram's in Canada, uh, and just at 6'2", calm. When you talk to him, it's calm. And the first time I met him at the dojo, he came in t-shirt, jeans, backpack, and was just, "Hey, how's it going? Everything's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then when he came out to train, that was a different story. I mean, it literally went from calm to calmer. And over the years of doing this, it's been embedded in everyday life. Like I said last week, I if you'd have met me prior to 2013, I was wired to the gills. I was just, everything was so heightened. Um, the excitement, and not really in an excitable way, but the excitement of issues and things like that.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, stress. And it turns out that you lose so much focus of what you're actually supposed to be doing when your body and your mind is worried about how you're reacting to a situation.
Hmm.
So in the world of samurai, um, the art teaches you how to live your everyday life calm. Money problems, dude. I've been through 2 divorces, tax issues. I'll be very transparent. Debt issues because of divorces, what have you not. And as much as I want to get upset at it, there's one thing you can't change: time. And you know that in time, things are allowed to get fixed. Things are allowed to be worked out if you just rely on time. Well, when you talk about chaos and when you talk about situations that come up, especially if you're carrying a firearm or any type of weapon,
Mm.
all of a sudden you're in a situation where all of a sudden everything goes, and then we get on the defense mode, right? I True story. Cato can vouch for it. We all met up at a restaurant one night, and another group of people were there and started just doing their thing. And next thing you know, it only took one or two people to say this is not going to happen. Stuff went down, and that was a wrap. Fast forward to what we know now, or how we are now. We would have removed ourselves. I would have removed myself from that situation, because there's nothing there worth putting myself in harm's way or trouble. So you take that mindset of calm, and now you have a weapon. You have a sidearm, and we see it too many times where people get heightened, and intruders come into the house. Intruders come into the house. Next thing you know, we're opening fire. Right? You see it all the time. And a few times it's been the better half coming through the door late at night. Right?
It almost happened to me.
It can happen. So
when I was living in the Carolinas, it almost happened to me.
Right.
She worked. She worked in the daytime. We went to bed, and she got a call. The alarm was going off at the store, so she took off. She didn't wake me up because she knew I had to work early in the morning, so she didn't wake me up, But when she left, she locked the door, which was cool, which was smart, She didn't bother to leave me a note. She didn't bother to wake me up, tell me she left. So I heard the front door trying to get the key in the lock. And I come around the corner, man. Sig Sauer right down the hallway, ready to unload 40 caliber right down right down that hallway. And thank God there was right across, literally across the street from our house was a street light.
Yeah.
And I could see the outline. So I knew who it was then. But if that wouldn't have been there, she'd been 6 foot under. I'd have dusted her right there.
And that the hard part about this is the mind.
Can I reiterate one thing?
Oh yeah.
That's why now, since I'm not going to show weapons online anymore or some crap, that's why these are important.
Oh,
these are important. Do not, okay, do not, and I'm going to reiterate this one more time, do not pull your weapon on somebody in a dark situation without a flashlight, because if you do, and you do not put this person down for good, or even after their family can still come after you, but one of the first things that their lawyer is going to ask you, how did you identify your target?
And that's the thing about,
if you can't say I didn't know who it was, or I couldn't see him,
yeah,
they're going to get you.
Yeah. And that again, being able to step back, right? So we take away the weapons, and we take away the elements of the house, or you're outside or whatever. You have to go into your mind, and how do you react to every situation? If you react to something happening at the house, like water gets spilled on the floor, dishes topple over, or something happens, and you fire off and your fuse is short, your fuse is going to be short when a situation happens. If you have road rage, right? If someone cuts you off, or slams the brakes in front of you, or if you're not going as fast as they want you to go and they get in front of you, they slow down. If you road rage and your mind goes into that mode of like, oh no, he ain't going to do that to me, you're going to do that in every situation that comes across your life. No matter what. That is absolute truth. So what you have to do is be able to go into your own mind and analyze what really triggers you to get that chaotic over the situation. it's a process, Chuck. It has taken me, I'm going to say, probably the better part of 6 or 7 years of
Mhm.
sensei teaching me it's okay for someone to strike at me, and I look at them like they're insane. And it's not that I'm Billy Badass. It's simply I'm not going to let that person know that whatever they're doing bothers me,
Yeah, you're giving them control.
giving them control, and I'm not going to do that. As long as you don't raise your hand to me, I'm not going to be triggered. But here's the thing, that all goes back to who you are as a person. It goes back to how do you deal with situations every day in your life? Do you go to work and your coworker does something and you pop off? Or are you someone that's going to let it roll off the bat because you understand, one, you're at work, two, it's probably not that big of a deal, and three, they don't know what they're talking about,
Right.
right? There's so many things you have to do, and it becomes a lifestyle change. Chuck, I've told you about this yourself. I told it to you a couple of weeks
I'm
ago,
a hothead. Well, I used to be a really
right?
bad
Yeah,
hothead.
you need to calm down. People in situations need to calm down. And so I always go back to jujitsu because that is really what sensei in the way he's taught me to take even a blade being pulled, right? When someone pulls out a blade and they put it they wave it at you to threaten you, right? If
Mhm.
I look at that weapon and start letting my mind just go absolutely chaotic, I lose the vision of what's really going on. Believe it or not, your
You
mind, your
get
eyes
the
don't
benefit
see
of using the training that you have. You know what I
things.
mean? Because you
Correct.
might remember fraction parts of it here and there, but if you're, in that state of mind, you're not going to
Mhm.
remember everything, and they're going to catch you.
And
No,
and and they're going to feel, believe it or not, because of what they're doing, their senses are heightened. They're everything they're doing is all heightened. And so we have this principle called Puate no Jitsu, and what that means is it's the science of off balance. Off balance does not necessarily mean physically,
right.
right? If someone is hyped up, we'll go back to the Time Warner incident where you and I were working and we had just got out of training. This dude almost ran us over, and we walked over there, and he was hyped up. He was belligerent, hyped up. He acted like he had a weapon, and we stood there and just looked at him and really waiting for something to happen.
Yes.
And he turned around and walked away, and then we left. Right? Okay. You have to do that in everything that you do in your life. You have to outweigh the issues versus the rewards of you getting just raging
No, absolutely.
triggered, if you will.
Absolutely.
Let's use the word trigger. I do I so we talk about racing, right? I had won the first 3 nights out at Shady Oaks. There was an off points night down in Corpus, and I said, you know what? Let's load up, go to Corpus, and see how the car does with this new setup that we did. On the opening, as the green flag dropped, someone leaned into my left quarter panel, and it lifted the car off the ground to a point where I had no traction, slamming the wall, bent every brand new thing that I put under the rear end. And for that split moment when I got out of the car, I was headed over to his pit, but then I stopped. And ever since then, as many times as we've gotten ran over, you just let it go because the reward over that is not going to do you a bit of good. Your sanity
Right.
is not going to do you any good. And then you end up getting yourself in a conflict where it can either grow and now you've got more issues on your hand that you have to answer questions about, more people that you're going to get involved with, or do you just say, hey, you know what? Next time I'm not going to put myself in that situation. So
Right.
fast forward, we put weapons in there where you can actually hurt somebody.
That. Yeah.
You have
Big deal.
you have to absolutely be able to look at someone. Like I said it last week, Chuck. You got if anybody out there carries a sidearm and you're open carried out at a gas station that allows you to run concealed. This Valero right up the road. allows you, as long as you have a permit, you can carry in the store, right?
Right.
So, and then someone decides to act the fool, and things get crazy, and then you're confronted with this person that is either waving his hands or throwing shit at you, or he's got, he's got a weapon himself and he pulled it out. Say it's a knife, right?
Okay.
If you stand there and let him do all that stuff and he doesn't touch you, his
More
mind
power
is going to automatically think that you're crazy. Why am I not getting a reaction out of this person? People that get into arguments, 90% of the time when people wants to argue with you, they want a reaction because it's their validation of what they're doing. Doesn't matter whether it's good or bad.
or right or wrong.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
right or wrong. So if I have a sidearm and I'm carrying my karambit and someone comes up to me and starts waving whatever in my face or whatever, as long as they don't touch me in modern day and they don't put their hands on me or come at me, I'm just going to stand there and I'm going to let them do whatever it is they think they're going to do. And it's not because I'm waiting for them to do something. It's because I am watching their body language for when I have to react.
Right.
So the calm one is not going to be the one hiding behind a desk. It's not going to be under a table. That the calm people that are in these situations, you're going to find us standing there going, well, there's only two outcomes of this, you know, and it's just trained mindset. When you're at your house, you had a great, like you were talking about, you almost, went ahead and things almost went down if it hadn't been that you recognized the silhouette of
Sure.
that person in your house. You come in my house, I'm going to physically do something to you before I pull a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, right? Out in public, if you're not carrying, even if I was, I'm still going to do something physically. If you threaten my body, you come this way, then all bets are off. But until then, you have to be able to think about the collateral damage also if you're carrying a sidearm.
That's a lot of people
Nine
don't think.
times out, a lot of people don't worry about that. They don't think about collateral damage. And when you carry the size of sidearm that I carry, you have to worry about collateral damage because it's going to go through you and anything else behind it for a good 100, 115, 120 yards. So to prevent all of those questions being asked and prevent all of that stuff, learn or get trained on how to look at life calm. If you do things in your house calmly, like arguing with your better half, I don't argue. I refuse to argue because it does no good when two people start losing focus of what exactly the conversation is about because they're angry. But
It's
people
all
don't know how to correct. But people today, they don't know how to turn that anger off when they go out the door or they leave work or they don't know how to turn all that off. And that is the first thing in training that you have to really focus on is you and what makes you react, what doesn't make you react. And if
yeah,
there's something that makes you react easy, you need to analyze that and figure out why do you react that. Is it that big of a deal? Is it really that big of a deal that someone walks up to me and points a gun at me? If Jennifer and I are out and someone comes in and we're getting gas or something like that and they point a gun at me, I'm going to put her behind me. Right? That way that she's covered and then she can leave. Run. Then I worry about what's going to happen here. So if you got people and you're with people or you're with friends or in a group of people and you agitate someone that's already introduced themselves with a weapon and starting to pull guns and getting all crazy, and you agitate that, you could hurt everybody else that's around you.
absolutely.
You could trigger that guy or woman to start just what have you. Now you have the school shootings that you just can't control. Those kids and those people, they just walk in and open the only thing you can do there is stay calm and be the guy to find a way to strategically, like the officers
Right.
did in that one, find a way to get in there and worry about taking the person down over anything else,
Right.
right? But if you're by yourself and there's people around you and someone confronts you and they haven't done anything and they're just running their mouth, sit there and analyze the person. Don't get into an argument. Don't sit there and say, "Oh, I mean, if you do this, I'm going to do that." No, we ain't got time for all that. Let them do their thing, and you jump into, okay, I need to do something. How do I get out of here? Who's around me? How many people are there? What's going on? This guy's still running his mouth. He hasn't pulled a trigger yet, but he's getting closer. When you get close enough, then I'm going to go ahead and react. We talk about another thing too, Chuck, is liability of your actions.
That's a big one.
Liability
That's huge.
liability of your actions have to constitute what was being presented to you, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Period. The end. So if they pull a knife, you don't pull a gun. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't pull a gun. I know what everybody says, but he was threatening my life, and I have the castle doctor, and I can go ahead and put him down. I get it. I get it. But are you prepared to answer all the questions? Has the confrontation gone on long enough that you've analyzed everything and there's no other way out of it?
There you go. That's the key.
Right.
There has
And
that if in order for you to draw your weapon and do the inevitable, that's horrible. It's a god awful thing. And trust me, if you've never killed somebody, you don't want to. I'm just telling you now. You really don't want to.
yeah.
Okay. But if it comes down to that, okay, like you said, you be prepared for the damage that comes along with that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just something that just happens. Oh, okay, I'm going on my merry way because I have a concealed carry course. Oh no. Get might as
No.
well get that out of your head. Okay. That is the farthest thing from the truth. What's gonna happen is you're gonna get arrested. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. You're going to get put in handcuffs. Now, you might not go to jail that night. Depends on the situation. I have seen where somebody defended themselves. The guy kept his gun and they let him stay at home. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen other stuff where they, arrested the person, took their weapon, and they sat in jail for a while. You know what I mean? Again, that's why I have USCCA, by the way.
Yep.
Shameless plug, by the way. But be prepared. Again, we talk about training, being prepared, being prepared, being prepared. We're talking about, the basically the mental aspect of it, staying calm.
Mm-hmm.
We're going that direction. And it's something that people need to learn. People that need to, I'm one of them, I need to learn better, you know. And if you think you've learned enough, you're wrong. Okay. Don't ever
Yeah.
stop training.
Yeah.
Don't ever stop learning. Keep going. Keep learning. Because I'm telling you, and my dad used to drill this in my head when I was a kid. If a day goes by, you don't learn something, it's a wasted day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No matter what it is. Yeah.
What the subject is, it could be, oh, I didn't know that's how that's how you got your Norton antivirus to work. Oh crap, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that. Or it could be like, damn, how do we get this communications band to talk to the satellite again? It could be something
Yeah.
crazy like that. Learn something every day. Learn.
Right.
Okay. What and for those people that like to cook out there, if you didn't know, if you really want a great omelet, put your fresh herbs in a bag with your eggs 2 or 3 days before you have your omelet. Then make your omelet with that egg. Tell me how good it tastes. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
One of the key aspects to, because this topic is very dry, but until you find yourself in a situation and realize
absolutely.
when you're standing on the when you if you have to go to court over something you reacted to or did, there's going to be prosecution or cross-examination to go, what made you feel like you needed to do what you did? And you
Right.
cannot say, oh well, my mind just went and that's what I just
Yeah.
reacted.
Oh,
That
and they try
doesn't
it.
it,
They try it.
yeah, and they try it, and let me tell you something, it doesn't work. And when I train jujitsu and I teach our art, we actually try to hit. We actually try to cut. We actually try to slice. We actually try to cut you. We do. That's true statement. And if you're calm in your training and you realize how to have trust in your training, you build more calm because all you're doing is getting comfortable with not being chaotic. And
And the confidence.
a lot of people don't understand. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling when someone comes up to you and starts yelling at you and what have you not, and you're sitting there and you're not, you just want to jump back and just start, even if it's with your wife or your husband and you want to sit there and argue. Do you
Right.
know that you can solve a lot of arguing between marriages and relationships if you just shut up and listen? No, and yes, that's going to be relation advice, but what you're really doing is you're showing the other person that you're not getting to me, and until you have something viable that we can talk about without yelling, then you come let me know. Until then, go ahead, because I'm just going to sit here and not react to it, because you're not going to spawn me to react.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You're not going to um push me to get a reaction out of me, because all you're doing, and even if it's someone that's trying to rob you, trying to stab you, trying to shoot you, and what have you not, if they're within an arm's length of you and you react back, all you're doing is validating what they're trying to do to you. They want to scare you. They want to impose fear so that you give them what they want. But if you stand there and go, "Are you insane? What's wrong with you? Put the gun down. But stop, 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 stop." Okay, because if you're going to shoot me right now, you would have shot me already. So let's just
You
just
done
put it
shot me
down.
hard. Exactly.
You know, right? And let me tell you something. That may sound very condescending. That may sound like very Billy Badass, but internally, my adrenaline is 1,000 miles an hour. My mind is going, "Oh, the crap I want to do to you right now," but I'm not going to, because that means you win. That means you win when you get me all riled up. What I need to do is figure out how to prevent you from carrying on. I need to figure out how I'm going to disarm you if you have a weapon, or if you're just yelling at me and you're my better half, I'm just going to look at you and go, "Are you done? Because when you want to become an adult, we can talk about this. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and you're just going to be talking to a brick. You're better off talking to the refrigerator because it's got a light on." You have to find yourself in that calm to you have to find yourself in that calm so that you yourself do not get put into a predicament where you can come up on the wrong end of the situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thing of it is,
That is
people don't
the whole key
realize
to it.
too, that person might come at you. Your reaction could do one of two things. Could defuse the whole situation,
Hmm.
or it could make it entirely worse.
Hmm.
Okay.
And that's
You
so
got
backwards,
to
Chuck,
training, training,
all
train. You have
all day long. Now, and I'm going to throw the and here's something that's going to make your mind just it when Sensei told me about it, it put me into a loop, and it just made, including everyday life. He said, "Listen, our art is an offensive art. We really don't sit here and the
defend
samurai
anything.
didn't wait. We didn't. We When things went down, we went in and we started just making we were putting our calling cards out there. If you're missing a head, you're missing a limb, whatever." And I'm sitting there going, then why do we train so much on waiting for someone to come to us, right? Waiting for something to happen. He said, because if you if you walk down the street and someone look at you funny, like the samurai used to do, they could handle you and be done with it. They got away with it back in the day. You do that today, you're gonna get thrown in jail. So what we did is they've taken the art and they've just turned it around to say, listen, you can't just walk around like feudal Japan and just start slicing people for disrespecting you. Samurai could do that, but we don't do that. And we don't do that only because of the laws today. Oh, but what it really did was teach us, do we really want to put ourselves in this situation? You absolutely have to force me to use my hands. You're going to have to force me to use my weapon. Now, you get out of the car and you start shooting at me and I got my sight on, all bets are off. Then you and I are fitting to go to town, Jackson. But if it's a personal thing or a human to human thing, or someone in a situation that is just making a ruckus and they make it to you, until they put their hands on you, until they pull a weapon on you, just sit there and just listen to them.
Right.
Right? Just listen to them. If they pull a weapon out, and I have a weapon in our art, I'm not going to pull my weapon. I'm going to take yours from you. And if you're still going, I'm going to use yours on you. Even though if I have a weapon and you got a weapon, you pull yours, I am going to pull mine and I can do all that. But then here I go with the questions again. Now I got to answer all the questions on why this guy's dismembered in front of me because he decided to pursue me. There's just so many levels of 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 things that can happen that if you're not calm in your mind to actually judge the situation and use the necessary force to handle it,
Right.
then you're gonna find yourself in a
No,
big
well,
problem.
that's the thing. If you're not calm, you're not going to think straight. First off, you're not going to be thinking
Right.
straight. You're going to make poor judgment calls. You know, you could be, it could have been you're at the club and uh, you just met this girl a couple weeks ago and you're really into this girl, and some dude at the bar comes and slaps her on her tush. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
get pissed off. Okay, I get it.
Yep.
Okay, like you said earlier, what you see is not what's inside.
Correct.
It's calm.
Correct.
Okay. Back in the day, I'd have just tore his head off.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I've seen me do it. Mannheim,
Mm-hmm.
Germany, 1997. I can prove it. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
okay, older, wiser me today, I would do everything in my power to defuse anything. Namely, in that situation, like, hey, honey, let's just go find a club. This club, it's not cool. Let's
Yeah.
get out of here before
Yeah.
somebody gets hurt. Name and I don't. That doesn't want because let's be honest. In my shoes, okay, 2 shoulders been worked on. Both my knees are shot. Both my ankles are
Oh yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
My back is screwed. I got 2 compressed discs in my neck, 3 in my back. My hips are rotated forward, so my spine isn't straight. Okay. I'm a basket case when it comes to, aches, pains, health, not the greatest. Okay. Now, does that mean I have an excuse? No, it doesn't. Okay.
No,
The
they sure
fact
don't.
still remains number one, I need to train my brain. I need to know the laws up front. Very most important thing to train is your brain, know the laws. Okay.
Know your laws.
I can't just, go out my front yard, even though it's at night and I don't know, somebody might be trying to break into my truck, you know. Now, the law does state that is castle doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
Read into that some more. Okay. It's dark. You got to have a light.
Mm-hmm.
Train with your gun, with your light. Okay. Draw, turn it on, and aim. Draw, turn it
Yeah.
on, aim. Okay. Train, train, train. Okay. So now we're mentally prepared because we know the laws. Okay. We're we're confident with our weapon. We can
Mm-hmm.
shoot, train, we're good with it. Okay. Now, the big thing is how well are you trained at finding your phone after that? So
Yeah.
let's just call
Yeah.
it what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
You just smoked somebody.
Yep.
Not a great experience. I'm just letting you know. It's not a great experience. Okay. Your mind is going a billion different miles per hour when we should be doing exactly what Nitro said. Stay calm. Calm in the
Mm-hmm.
chaos. Okay. When you're freaking out, oh my god, I just lit somebody up. You're freaking out. I get it. Been there. Okay. First thing what you should do? What should you don't
Call,
know? Well, why
call
not? Because you
911.
didn't train.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't
Yeah.
train. Okay.
Yeah.
You might be the most proficient guy on the range with your weapon. You might know the laws inside, outside, backward, forward, up, down, backward, sideways, and everything else. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
have you trained on what to do after?
Yeah.
USCCA. Get your wallet, pull your wallet out. Bingo. Here's my
Yeah.
card. Flip it over on the back. There's the phone number. I'm going to pick up my phone. I'm going to call 911 first. Then this is what happened. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, police are on the way. Great. Next thing I do, I call that number on the back of my phone, my back of my USCCA membership card,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever firearm insurance that you might have. I prefer USCCA. Call them up. There's a lawyer 24/7 there to talk to you, tell you what to do, what not to do, everything. Okay. The police have to let you talk to your lawyer. Okay. After the fact, after you've been booked or whatever, they still have to give you that one call. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Call USCCA before they get there. Trust me. They're going to give you instructions. They're going to tell you what not to say, what not to do, what
Yep.
to do, and what you should say. Okay.
Yeah.
Train. Okay. When you're going through these, because like I said, I like I've told you, I set up scenarios. Got my
Mm-hmm.
target set up. I'm at the ATM. My door right here is my ATM machine. That aquarium right there is a big bush or a tree. That file cabinet that I keep all my business stuff in is, I don't know, a pylon, right? And I put that target right over there. Okay. So it's kind of hard to get around. But what I'll do is I'll sit here, put one hand on the door, draw, click my light, aim, pop, grab my wallet, 911, boom, boom, boom. The reason I do that, and I know it sounds silly and it sounds stupid, and it sounds exaggerated because I'm trying to make a
But it's
point.
habit. Yeah.
It's not. It's muscle memory. Okay.
Yeah. Get into
Okay.
the habit of the process.
Okay. Let me ask you this, just to prove a point. When you get down to do a push-up, how do you do a push-up? The same way every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It's the only way I know how to do it.
Well, it's muscle memory. How many push-ups do you think you did in 15 years in the Army? How many push-ups do you think you did?
A lot.
My point exactly.
Yeah. Well,
You shoot that guy, you holster your weapon, you pull your wallet, you call 911, you go through the drill over and over. And it's going to be muscle memory.
That's a reactionary drill to the situation, and we'll go back to the O-light. We'll go back to the light, right? And one of the things that I love about having an O-light flashlight is that it can help you stay calm in a situation because it is a tool to throw the other person off balance, right? Always remember, if it's in black and white, you're always right. Always remember that. If it's in black and white, it's always right. It doesn't matter if it's at work, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if it's at home, it doesn't matter if it's a law, there is no gray area for interpretation if it's in black and white. So let's make that very clear. Okay. What is in the gray area is things that may happen that you haven't read about. And that is where your mind has to go, if it doesn't feel right, it don't look right, it might not be right, but I'm in this situation, so how do I at least contain it? And those are the things that you have to be calm about, because you just can't go and say, well, I've never heard of it and I don't remember it being a law, whatever, not, so I'm going to shoot this guy. It don't work that way. So calm, know your laws, yes. Train your mind. Take away weapons and guns or whatever. Just train your mind every day to be calm in situation so you can focus on how to react. so that things can progress in a positive way instead of you flipping off and going crazy and everything just keeps getting negative and negative and negative and negative.
Right.
That's that, you know, that's the whole vision you kind of have to have with every situation. Every, Newton's law works in everything. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction until you don't react. When you don't react, then things kind of get put on pause, even in the most
Right.
chaotic times.
Right. Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Things are, someone walks up to me and they're just doing whatever they're doing, and they pull a weapon and they start slashing a knife in the air, and I'm sitting there going, dude, crazy, and I don't react. Guess what's happening? I've kind of just put a pause on the situation because
He's going
I
to start
haven't
thinking
given.
twice.
Yeah, do that in everything that you do. Do that in your everyday life. If you train your mind to do that all the time, no matter what you're doing, it won't matter what comes at you at
Huh.
all.
I got bit. I'm sorry.
So
I went
that's
outside. I went outside to water my garden, and I got bit by a
oh, the
mosquito. Really
speeders are
bad.
out. Yeah.
Sorry, man.
So
Anyway,
oh, and I'll say, if you have a weapon, whether it's knife or gun or whatever, and you want some training, you want hand-to-hand training on how to deal with someone that either, they walk up behind you and they put a gun to your head, and you have a gun, and they caught you from behind. But as long as they haven't pulled the trigger, you're still in control, whether believe it or not. Just
you're
believe
in
it
the
or
game.
not. So
You're in the
just
game.
ask. Email us if you say, hey, Nitro, I want to know how to handle this situation. We can walk through that. Easy peasy. There's not always one, but there's never not a way out of something. So that's just something to keep in mind. Um, and I train on Sundays down in the park over there in off Evers, and we do jujitsu in the in the park on the grass. So,
Right on.
uh,
Cool.
but mentality. The whole scope of this is mentality. Every day mentality. Stand in front of the mirror, ask yourself what you can do better at, fix your mind, and even the simple stuff that your wife or your husband gets mad at you about or whatever, instead of reacting back all defensively, just stay calm.
Right.
Just stay calm. Even if you're wrong, stay calm, and then you worry about handling it later. But don't react at that time. Start training your mind in everyday life, and you'll see how far you can go.
Right on. Right on. Right on. So, with that being said, it is now 8 o'clock. We've done our
Man,
hour show. I know, right? And it just seems like, every time we get on here and we get to talking about a certain subject, it's
mhm.
like, man, but there's so much more I wanted to say. There's so much more I want to talk about. That's
Yeah.
why there's next week, guys. next
There's
Wednesday,
always next week. Yep.
next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, right here on YouTube,
Yeah.
Gearheads and Guardians, with myself and that guy right over there, that guy Nitro guy. We're here every Wednesday, usually every Wednesday. Yesterday, I had to apologize. Was a little sick yesterday. I don't know if I ate something in San Antonio that didn't agree with me or what, but it wasn't
Right.
fun. I'm telling you, my stomach was hurting bad. But anyway, anyway,
So a
um,
couple quick updates, if I could.
sure, please.
Relieffortroops.org, relieffortroops.com. We have the shop up. We're getting ready to get some Gearheads and Guardians. Um, we have Gearheads and Guardians merch that you can buy, but we're actually having some stuff made here. We have the new 1X our racing tumblers that we're getting ready to send out to some folks already. We got more coming. We have Landon's number, the 08. We're getting some merch for him, and then um, we want to talk to him about the design. You want the design
Yes,
contest? You
yes,
want to
yes,
put that
yes.
out there? Let's do
Yeah,
that.
that's what we're talking about. All right, here's what we're thinking, folks. All right, and I know we're probably going over our hour limit, but that's all good. Here's what we're coming up with. All right, we want to do Gearheads and Guardians merch, like the tumblers, like the 1X tumbler you saw, but we want to put Gearheads and Guardians on it. We also want to come up with something way cool to put on a t-shirt. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and we're looking for something that's really, really simple. Okay. Nothing crazy, cool, obviously. We're
Mhm.
thinking, kind of like, how the Harley Davidson has that the new skull that they have there now. Something simple and basic like that. Because you've seen the other Gearheads and Guardians, uh, what you call it, the logo that we have now, which is so sweet. It's really cool, but to put it on a cup like that, or the tumblers and stuff like that, it's a little difficult. So we want to do something that's really basic, really simple. One color, mostly one color, maybe two. You know, but something that we can put on that, something that we can put on a t-shirt.
Mhm.
Okay. So what we talked about, and I think that's what we wanted to do, was the contest, correct?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. So here's what we want to do. We want to do a contest. Okay. For every week, for the next, I don't know what we'll say, what 5, 6 weeks from, and then we'll go up with something after that, or how do you want to do it? How many weeks you want to
Yeah,
go?
let's do a 6 week,
Okay,
because we're only on once a week. So let's do a 6 week. Yeah.
a trial of it. Okay, cool. So we're gonna run this contest for 6 weeks. You heard it right here. Okay, you come up with a design, and we use it. Okay, we use that design. You're gonna get a free mug and a free T-shirt sent right to your home. Okay, so, and not only that, it's going to be something that, you can say, "Hey, I designed their logo. I designed
Yep.
that." So it'll
Yep.
give you some props too. Okay, so if you come up with a really cool logo, um, and if we use it, um, we'll send you a free mug or a free tumbler and a sweet T-shirt. And
Yep.
you know, and well, I'm sure we're going to throw some better stuff in there on top of that too, because we just can't do something that easy. You
Right.
know,
Right.
we got to go
Yeah.
over the top. So I mean, there's going to
Yep.
be more, obviously, but for the
Sure.
baseline things right now, that's what we want to do. We want to put a really cool logo, Gearheads and Guardians logo, um, on a mug, or and the tumblers and a T-shirt. Okay, we do have two characters now. You have one called Trigger and one called Torque. Okay,
Hmm.
and see if I can find it real quick in here. Real quick, I'll just show you who Trigger is. I'll see if I can't dig it up real quick to show you who Trigger and Torque is. Let me get a cool one here, 'cause I've got 100 of them. I swear, I just got to find the right ones I want.
I know they're pretty two cool cats, man.
I got to find
I
that one that I sent you, because that one was really good. All right, here's
mm,
one.
hmm.
Let me see if I can do this and share the screen or something here. Here we go. Now let's go here. And we're going to go to present. Um, screen. Okay, where'd it go? There it is. Share.
And the
That.
logo that and the logo that we choose, yes. And the logo that we choose for the tumblers, we will put on the wrap for on the race car next year.
Oh, way
Yep.
cool. I think that's a cool one. All right.
Yep.
Way cool. Way cool. So there you have it, guys. That's the contest. We're going to run this for 6 weeks. The winner will get a tumbler and a T-shirt and some other cool stuff. All right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Can't wait, bro.
We
Can't
need to,
wait.
and now that I'm thinking about this, we might have to change our commercial logo to
Right?
to these two.
Right?
I like
Way
it.
cool. Way cool. All right. So is there anything else you want to? Oh,
Yep.
don't forget. Don't forget. Seguin River Monsters is coming up. Military
Yes, again,
Appreciation.
man.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't miss it. You guys, it's going to be a great time. The new
Yep.
owners of the team have done so much for these guys. I mean, they're brand new tour bus, awesome uniforms. They're talking about putting in a beer garden at Smoky Joe Field over here. It's going to be great this year, guys. And they're the defending champions this year. We
Yeah.
won the championship last year, and we're trying to repeat. So Veterans Appreciation Night.
Yep.
Oh, I done
We'll
forgot
have
the
the
date.
car there.
Was it?
June 6th, Thursday, June 6th.
That's it. And veterans get in free. My
Veterans
best
get in free. We'll have the car there. That's going to be a busy day for me because we actually go to the river that night too. So
Right.
not a busy day, but
I'll help you out.
also May 25th, we're having there's a music bash for Fallen Raider. That we're going to go set up the car. We're going to have a booth there. It's not our event, but we're going to partake in it. Come by and see us. It's going to be at the Shade Tree Saloon up in Spring Branch.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then, yep, that's
Right.
May 25th. And then we race May 4th. We are gonna race not this coming weekend, but next weekend. We're on the schedule. May 4th, I-37 Raceway is gonna be my first night back out in a while, so I can't, no promises. And then Sunday, this coming Sunday, if the weather holds off, which I don't think it's going to, we are going to have the car over at Cars and Coffee at Detail Garage off of Babcock and Heemner. And then now that it starts, and then June 22nd, we're going to make the long haul to New Mexico and race Vado Speedway. That will be streamed on Race on Dirt or Racing Dirt TV. And then in September, we're still in the planning phase for the Relief for Troops charity event, Slinging for the Veterans, in September. So got a lot coming up. Got a lot going on.
Way cool. You heard it here first. With that being said, folks, thank you so much for being here. And if you're just watching this as a rerun, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, down there's a like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. So every time we put up a new video or we put up a commercial or hey guys, heads up kind of thing, you'll get a notification. That way you know what's up. You keep in the know. All right.
And I want to say thank you to Cato real quick. Cato, you know what? I'm glad you reached out. Thanks for some nostalgic there. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
And amen. Cato, thank you, brother. I appreciate
Mike,
you, man. It's good seeing you again.
Seeing you, Mike.
So with that being said, y'all have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Don't forget the gas pedals on the right and the brake pedals on the left. All right. Go fast. Shoot straight and be safe. God bless y'all. Take care.
You have a good night. Appreciate you.
Thanks.